This deck is also like not great at having a lot of permanents in play for Karuga, like some other Karuga decks are. Okay, this was a fetch land we could keep, but it's not, so let's mulligan. Keep this one. This deck also has like a ton of card advantage already. I think you should do something like Xander's Lounge and Dauthi Triome to help out my awkward mana. I really like the Savai Triome casts Bolt and Binding. I don't really feel like Xander's Lounge and Dauthi Triome is like much better on the mana because it doesn't give you double red either. So I don't know if you can, you know, elaborate your point.
What's up? It's me, your friend Aspiring Spider.
Discussing further. Opt. Opt plus Kahira is weird. Usually Opt means Snapcaster Mage. Need to draw a land, obviously. We'll take it. They suggested that caused in both triomes are your two main colors. Yeah, I guess so. So those triomes that you go like Bolt plus, so we could go Bolt plus Binding off these. Yeah, that could be good. Another thing too is in Dauthi, Xander's would let you go like have 4 domain types on turn 2, which actually doesn't really help you Binding. I'll think about it some more. These mana bases are always like really tricky. Okay, I think I need to answer that. Esther's computer equipment is getting delivered today. That's probably what it is. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Just had to sign. What in the world? 4 triomes? 4 triomes. Dovin's Veto also. Well, we really want this to resolve. I think I'm actually on board with Xander's Lounge and Dauthi. Like, we could hold a Binding here. Probably just gonna start blasting. Do they have a 5th Triome, do you think? Could also maybe play 3 Triomes, like Savai and Dauthi Zagoth. Or sorry, Savai, Xander's, and Dauthi. That could be good too. Oh, we hit Scion. Wow. You're dead. Not yet, literally, but basically dead, right? What's it like to be a 3 life opponent? Dude, we came Cottage back, Seasoned Pyromancer, then Blast for 3. Any other ideas for Cottage besides the second Aether touch? Not yet. Not yet, but it's a really good effect, and you know, there's a good chance that there's other things out there, and there's a good chance that some, you know, things get printed to work with Cottage. We did trophy, yeah, I did trophy last league. It was a very stressful game. This has to be countered. Opt in response. Opt is definitely doesn't scream that they have a lot of counters in their hand. 3 damage on the stack. Yeah, I guess upkeep stop probably good here. This deck is something, huh? Yeah, so a big reason why I like Voidwalker over Leyline is that you actually get to bring them in against control. Because we have a lot of, like, you know, middling cards against control. I want to see why they're playing 4 Triomes, though. I'm so confused. Although I kind of want to put a 3rd Triome in this deck. I think on the draw against control, this is an okay hand to keep. Is 2 Rips good enough for Graveyard Heart and control sideboards? I usually don't like to debate the like blue-white X control builds on stream. It's just like, it just doesn't matter very much. And control players, like, I haven't been building the deck at all lately. I haven't been working on it at all. I haven't been, you know, agonizing over the 15th sideboard card like I usually do, and I just haven't been thinking about it. I don't really want to think about it right now. I have a hard time imagining 2 Rest in Pieces is a bad number. It sounds like a good number to me. You could play 1, you could play 3, and it's just not something to think about today. Oh, I thought for sure they're going to Binding. Okay, I really want to resolve this Binding, so let's just go ahead and main phase it. Could also been fine to get more aggressive, but my opponent likely has Verdict. Yeah, Rip turns off Dauthi, because they're both replacement effects. You get to choose which replacement effect you want to affect your card, and Magic Online always chooses Rest in Peace for you over Voidwalker, which is nice, because you always should. There's no reason besides, like, baiting your opponent, I guess. Always scary to play your Teferi Time Raveler out against the Voidwalker deck. I think land Shadow Prophecy, kind of easy pick up here. Likes to mill over a Shadow of Mortality, so a Calibrated Blast is going to be lethal if we draw one. So let me just start off this turn, though. Go Voidwalker. Gets counterspelled into Voidwalker Lightning Bolt. It's just crazy that this deck has, like, it's just a pile of good cards, and you just, like, 3 mana deal 15 also. Oh, funny, that minuses my domain by 1. Which is relevant, for sure. So I think I want to play this Voidwalker before I cast the Teferi, so I can get like a counter spell with the Teferi back with a Void counter. Pile of good cards. Yeah, pile of good cards. And although we did just like hardcast 3 shadows against the mono white deck, and that was good enough. Spells. Life total looking kind of low, Spider-Man. Get a little bit higher. Pitching Dovin's Veto. Could Cottage back a Voidwalker here, maybe. I don't love that this puts only 1 Cottage left in my deck, but I still have 1 Cottage left, and I probably don't need more than 1, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think you should cut Promise against red burn decks. So I think there's a good chance we need to be on like a set of Chalices in the board for those matchups. But those matchups are going to be hard, no matter what, probably. And just like, you know, creativity has a hard time against them. I think, you know, again, just having a hard time there is fine. Alright, so this is lethal. And we get to go... We get to start off Cast of Teferi. And then we can try to bait another counter spell. Oh, because I don't have enough red, actually. So I'll just go for it, I guess. Gonna, you know, upkeep, go for it again, too. Although I suppose no real reason to run into all the open mana. Could be like end of turn into upkeep. That's probably better. They could also like charm or something. Tap out. Yeah, maybe we should cut Scion before cottaging though. Yeah, we do have Scion, Lifelink plus Shadow. I agree. The burn matchup might not be as bad if we can try to play to that. Kind of a funny dynamic. Top. So we 1-2 dropped the first league, although like I punted and then like we lost to Prowess, which is the best deck in Modern. And then we 5-0'd, and now we're up a game in our third league. Okay, so this gets exiled permanently. Right. And funny enough, okay, I still have to fetch. Because this is a blue source. So I guess I could have tapped it a little differently. But I just cast Shadow for 2 mana. This deck is good. This is a good deck. Do you ever cut Scion against removal heavy decks? I think I haven't really been trimming the big drops because you need them for Blast. Also, like every deck in Modern is removal heavy, or not everyone, but Scion dodges some stuff. I wouldn't be too worried about it. The minus. They do minus. Oh, it's a fairy hero, Dominaria. What are we ever gonna do with you? I think putting my opponent to 1 so that any blast just always kills them, and I have Seasoned Pyromancers to make tokens is pretty good. Probably shouldn't. Maybe we shouldn't play the Shadow. Dude, they literally can't even cast Solitude. Why are they playing all these Triomes? Solitude, actual uncastable in their hand. Their mana looks so bad. Okay, they have no more white mana, so I don't think they can have any outs here. They have Cryptic Command in their deck? Dude, freaking Mystic Gate. Problem solved, huh? If we get Cryptic Commanded here, I'm gonna lose my mind. Okay, well. That'll do it. Oh, dude, we hit Scion for 12 damage. The Robins. Yes, settle the record, something like that. Okay, we're on the draw. We have no early interaction. And we need to draw a fetch line. Let's go to Mulligan. Close hand, though. This hand's a lot better. This hand is a lot better. I think either put back Shadow or Fury. Let's put back the Shadow, even though like being able to discard it here is really valuable. Obviously, just kind of depends on the matchup, which we don't know. Slippery Bog. Crashing Footballs. 34 months ago, thank you. We did lose to Rhinos earlier, although I did make some errors in that matchup, I think. I think I'll Thoughtseize turn 1 with that draw. Arid Mesa. Did you ice? Pretty obnoxious. Let's see what we draw. Okay, I think I just have to get Godless Shrine, Thoughtseize. I really want to be able to play a thing next turn. Good chance if I draw a fetch land, I'm just going to get in Dauthi Triome. Or sorry, Zagoth Triome and cast my Scion. Definitely scared of these rhinos. Scared of never drawing a third land either. Yeah, and this deck is definitely really painful, but it is funny that you were a Shadow of Mortality deck. So being super painful is not that big of a deal. Okay, I think I'm not going to play the Fable because I know they have Force of Negation. I think I discard both Scions. Maybe keep this as a red card. Was hoping to draw a Calibrated Blast too, so I can, you know, blast with Scion. Although I guess that's not great against the Force. Scion's also kind of nice because it makes the Seasoned Pyromancers for striking. They drew Violent Outburst Land as the two unknowns. The life of a Rhinos player, I guess. I just. They also didn't fetch in a way that they can cast the Force hardcast, which is interesting. So they're done if we draw Blast, because just main phase. I guess, well, not necessarily. There's Fury Force Mystery card. Also the Thoughtseize. Oh, the problem is that they're at 13. They didn't shock. So they're actually way better against Blast. Right. Bloodbeam blows us out. Yeah. Aren't they on Binding though? They revealed Leyline Binding. I thought, yeah. So they should be main decking it. Okay, so yeah, the problem is we put them to 1 with the Calibrated Blast. Even if we top deck it, which was early out. Yeah, definitely leaning more towards Chalice. I don't know. We'll see. So this is how I sideboarded last time. I felt okay about this plan. Still feel okay, I think. Let's run it back. No, we can't eat 8 attack for 1 because they have 2 blockers there. Yeah, Blasted Chalice tier 0. It'd be kind of fun if that happened. Should I bring in the planes? I think if you see Leyline Binding, you're not supposed to infer that they're on Blood Moon. You could just be wrong. You could also like Thoughtseize Blood Moon sometimes. With this hand we can. Easy mulligan. Okay, keep this. Put back second Binding, I think. And then... yeah, this deck could never Scion on turn 2, but that's okay. No, Tourach has protection from Binding and Solitude trees with the Rhino. They're not playing Solitude. It's okay. It's a 4-drop to this matchup, which is kind of not ideal. You could bring it in. Wouldn't it be the worst? So this version of Blast, other than versions, is 3 damage sometimes, deal 10, and otherwise more. Well, you have Cottage to set it up, so it's usually pretty consistently 12 or 15. But like sometimes yeah, you do just cast it because you couldn't set it up. But we're not out here just hoping, you know. Okay, they suspend the Footfalls. Okay, I love this draw. If this dies, we're really happy because then we can blast them for 12. Or also if it's just able to chip in damage, that's important too. Yeah, likely low on lands if they're playing Beside You. Okay, it died. Exactly what I asked for. I'm going to get a Blood Crypt tapped here, I think. I need that second red. Can you fit 13 mana Emrakul in? I really don't want to. People keep asking about it, though. Again, we'll likely be making some changes for tomorrow. It's just going to take some time before we have the list perfectly hammered out. You know, this has been... like a little bit more than around 12 hours I've been working on the list. So I'm just not feeling super comfy addressing any possible changes yet. Thank you. Down to 5. So they probably have binding here. If they binding, do I binding their binding in response? I guess so. Could also just flash back the blast and hope. That's probably not as good a plan. Well, now I definitely am. Any merit to waiting 1 turn so you can blast and flashback? Blast is 5 mana to flashback. That doesn't work. Alright, fingers crossed. So we hit a Calibrated Blast with our Calibrated Blast. So we put them down to 2. I setted out my bolts. Still feel okay about putting them to 2. Binding their binding with Cascade Trigger on the stack. That's kind of interesting, yeah. But maybe just like not giving them the chance to like, because I like at least this turn I shouldn't, because they could put this on the stack. Then I need to have this in play before this goes down. Ooh, well that's probably a win. Could have Force of Negation. Thank you for the Twitch Prime. Hope you're doing well. No Chalice in the deck to draw here. Yeah, Tribal Flames is really interesting. I don't have a strong opinion on it. I'm going to, we're going to be making some adjustments for sure, particularly to the mana base. I think that treating them, instead of having Triome Basic Swamp, having 2 dual lands is probably better. Which is a lesson, like, I guess I just have to keep learning over and over again. Or if they have Force, it's like their whole turn. Okay. 12, yeah. Different sideboard options. Tribal Flames is interesting. I think that the card Tribal Flames lines up kind of poorly against most of the modern format. It doesn't line up that well against Murktide, Creativity, Scam, or Hammer. Like, it's a good burn spell for sure, but like what's cool about this deck is you get to play the slow, controlling, removal heavy game plan, and like and Flames is just like and then blast them. And Flames is a good burn spell. It's not a very good control card. So like if I had to answer right now, I would not be super inclined to register it, but it is a conversation. Mono black mana base for a Boros deck. I mean, we have more black cards than we have white cards. We only have 1 white card. It's definitely not a Boros deck, right? Not a very good hand of the matchup, but probably a hand we keep anyways. Is there any argument to Tribal Flames over Lightning Bolt? There is an argument. I think that Lightning Bolt is better. It's, it's 1 mana, it's instant speed. Doesn't require Domain to be in play. What about Grief plus Fury, then Touch plus Ephemerate? Yeah, I think that is a direction you can go as well. You can also play Grief over Thoughtseize, Dead Gone. Maybe not Grief, but like we're actually not very far from being a Karuga deck either. But I also think in this deck Karuga is not that good. You don't have that many permanents maybe. But that could also be wrong. There's a lot of directions to go, and like again, I fielded a lot of ideas. I always appreciate feedback, but for today at least, I really don't think I'm going to. I'm gonna have to sleep on it. This is definitely gonna be the kind of deck I just have to take a day and sleep on it and evaluate. Yeah, in a field of bitter reunion, chat Spike. What about bitter reunion? So I like that they're going to 14. We're not going to be able to play Binding this turn, but next turn we can go like Scion plus Binding maybe. Maybe we'll just draw our 1 of Chalice again. Not that lucky. Would Persist be good in the deck? Well, you'd have to be like a completely different. You have to be an Archon deck, right? You have to be Margrave, Archon. I considered that route. I think this route is way better though, to be honest. Yeah, so trading Scion has a good amount of value, since that's going to allow me to top deck Calibrated Blast and deal 12. I think if they have Force and they force this go down to 1 card, that's okay. With only 3 cards, it's kind of likely that they can't do too much else. Also, you know, would like to be able to set up for a Hardcast Fury. Hardcast Fury typically reasonable against Rhinos. If they attack with the Charlotte's Agent, I think I'm going to be happy enough to block there. If they have Dead Gone, it's, you know, not super ideal, but not that bad either. Honestly, being able to cast the Shadow card in this matchup too, just like 2 mana 7/7 sometimes, seems okay. This comes on next turn. Could dig for our 1 of Chalice with Seasoned Pyromancer, I guess. They play Besage You. You don't have Besage You my binding with nothing under it. We also have 3 Path of Perils we could draw into to deal with the tokens. We have Hardcast Fury next turn for a token. Okay, do I want to discard double Marsh Flats? I think I'll just discard double Marsh Flats and keep the Cottage in hand because it's painless. Gross. Fuck. That sucks. But that's magic, huh? We still have Fury. We still have, you know, plenty of good top decks. I don't know how strong my opponent's hand is. How do you always draw so many lands? I don't know. I agree that I do, though. No life gain this turn would be a really big deal. Another Spyro. So I guess we Cottage back Scion, so we can go Scion plus Seasoned Pyromancer next turn, and like tap Blood Crypt or Verdant Catacombs and tap to Cottage again. Cottage helps you stop drawing lands in the late game. Yeah, we could. I guess we'll Cottage the Fury again, take a trade. Just hope that they don't have too much of a good follow-up, but they have 4 spells in their hand, so not feeling great about that. If they Cascade again, I can, like, just dig for Path of Peril with Spyro, maybe. Taking 5 down to 11. So if I play Scion, Spyro, I can, like, trade, take 8. But I'm in really bad shape and they have 4 cards in their hands, so I think I'm just going to high roll and try to find a Path of Peril off the Seasoned Pyromancer. And like, it can also maybe find Calibrated Blast and just YOLO it. Thoughtseize, okay. Dead. Top of the library, not very happy with us. That's okay. Already got a 5-0 today. Elesh Norn is not a good sideboard card in Modern. She's like really only a card, in my opinion, that you should be looking to main deck because you're built around it, and then she has good incidental splash damage. Gigantha or Elesh Norn, Elesh Norn is a 5-mana spell, and like I will just like basically never think of 5-mana cards as sideboard cards in Modern that you can't pitch. Okay, so Gigantha, Scalding Tarn, Stomping Ground Striker. Okay, the playing against Storm. I hope to be able to combo. It's a good draw. It's a good draw. If this was a looting effect rather than Shadow Prophecy, I'd feel a bit more comfortable. Can bolt them down this turn too. Yeah, I guess I don't need to bolt this turn because I can bolt plus blast on turn 4 if I need to. Leyline definitely a lot better than Voidwalker in this matchup. You definitely have to bolt that. They have Galvanic Relay. They get to do it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow. Really is so good. They flip Breach, Channeler, Wooded Foothills, Into the Warrens, Ritual, Manamorphose. Pretty ideal. Pretty ideal. Let me see what we draw. Basic Swamp. So I'm actually going to play Blood Crypt here so that I could maybe find Lightning Bolt off the Shadow Prophecy and play Bolt plus Blast next turn. I think there's a really good chance that my opponent just makes a lot of empty tokens this turn, and we can possibly combo off. They're likely to be at 16 after playing Wooded Foothills. So I would need to mill over a Shadow of Mortality and find a Bolt off the Shadow Prophecy to kill them. Maybe they fetch and shock, thinking that their life total is really high. That would be kind of lucky. Yeah, we can also YOLO, which we'll do if we have to. Oh, they're on the Bitter Reunion tag. If they don't have another ritual, by the way, like if they can't find another ritual, then they can't really do much this turn. They can draw like a lot of cards with Breach. They can draw like 5 cards or something. They did fetch Shock. Holy shit, they fetch Shock. So now I can either mill over Scion and find Bolt, or just mill over Shadow Prophecy or Shadow of Mortality. I'm having a really hard time evaluating Strike It Rich in the Storm deck. There's just like so many decision points in modern deck building that it's like this, like where you like recognize that this card is like really reasonable. Like Strike It Rich is really reasonable in the Storm deck, and like evaluating like the optimal build of Red Green Storm is like one of the hardest deck building challenges ever. Okay, they found a ritual, but then they're down a mana with the Harvest, so we should be safe-ish. Like when we were working on the deck, like it was very, very difficult to find the perfect list, and it's also just hard to like dwell on the deck for too many days in a row. Although I think I'm very likely to play another day of this deck tomorrow, by the way. Okay, so we have 5 looks at again, Scion plus Bolt or Shadow. The deck's been doing well. We trophied with it. So it's been also the deck. You know, it's also important like when you're evaluating. You know, a deck can feel kind of medium. Oh, I guess they just have another Breach for next turn. I'm surprised they didn't like bobble like 4 or 5 more times though. At least one more time. But it looks like we win, which is good. Take this. Take this. Doesn't really matter as long as the Shadow goes into the yard. Tony, thank you for the raid. Hope you're doing well today. Everybody from Tony's stream, watch this. Blast you. Yeah, perfect timing. Give like 2 Path of Perils. Something like that, at least. Can we cut the... could play like 1 Fury. Could play 0 also. Cut the Fables. I think Fable's worse than Shadow Prophecy in this matchup. Maybe actually I do something like this. Leyline Binding. I guess Leyline Binding exiling Breach is actually really nice. Never mind. I want to keep the bindings in. It's hard for me to go down on like less than 8 of these enablers. Maybe I cut the Scions. Maybe I just cut Scion and I can like blast them for 15. Although Scion plus Shadow is good against like the lifelink plan is kind of nice. But maybe I could do something like trim. Let's try. Oh, try this. Oh, I didn't mean to cut the second path. Let's do this. Sideboarding's hard. Again, on new decks like this, I just like to like sideboard kind of instinctually, and then develop a plan over the next couple days. Yeah, plans in the sideboard is for Blood Moon. How do you feel about this hand? I think I like it enough to keep. Turn 1 Bolt's nice to the matchup. And did I qualify for regional San Diego? No, I played, I think, maybe 1 or 2. I think 2 qualifier events for San Diego, and I didn't qualify. I'm thinking about going and playing the Last Chances, though. I have not decided if I'm going to or not, though. But it'd be a fun weekend anyways. I'd have to learn Standard, which I like kind of watched Doomwake play a little Standard yesterday. I watched Gab play some. As an instinctual player, when you develop, how do you bridge that gap? Note taking. For me, my simple one trick to develop the sideboarding skills of like sideboarding very instinctually is to play nonstop every single day and do almost nothing else for years. And with that one tip, you can become a better sideboarder. Yeah, I've heard lots of good things about Standard. I mean, I haven't played Standard in years, but I hope that it's good. Standard being good is like a really big deal for Magic. I think we're just gonna jam Seasoned Pyromancer here. Blast? No blast. Voidwalker's an okay draw though. Will I ever consider being professional? I think that it at this point in my career makes almost no sense, less than no sense, to pursue traditional professional Magic over streaming. Streaming is like way more consistent, fun, and rewarding for me, and I still have I will still like casually pursue the Pro Tour, play qualifiers when they're convenient to play. But I think that it just again doesn't really make any sense for me to pursue the Pro Tour over streaming. Yeah, casual streaming. Yeah, then yeah. Also definitely make more doing this than I would streaming. So they're killing my creatures. My opponent is just like leaving two. They have no cards in their hand. Why would they not bobble like 2 more times here? I'm so confused. I want to look for a Calibrated Blast. I didn't find one. That being said, oh, sorry. I meant to take this Thoughtseize over the Shadow Prophecy. Whoops. But even if the last card is Underworld Breach, we're like just not in bad shape at all. Giganta in the hand. Yeah, I don't, when they're Hellbent, I don't know why my opponent's just like turning away 2 free cards and like free Storm too. They're playing really fast also, and now they're dead. and now they're dead. Am I a washed comp player now? I don't think so. I don't know. I think that like that kind of like language just doesn't fucking matter. But I just don't engage with the game in the same way that I did in the past. But it's just brewing in Modern is just so satisfying and rewarding. I'm just having the most fun ever. I don't get to just like Calibrated Blast people. I don't get to like wake up and Calibrated Blast people if I just am grinding Murktide and like Rakdos and Pioneer all day every day. Okay, easy Cigar is 8 here. They're kind of weak to the Fury. Yeah, this is the deck we 5-0'd with. Hasn't been a serious career path since professional Magic started. Yeah, but at least in the past, it was way more reasonable. You know what I mean? Like 10, 20 years ago, it wasn't a reasonable career path, but it was like possible. Maybe it is like a little bit possible, but it just It just isn't. It still isn't the same as it used to be, and will likely never be the same. But it can be different, and it can grow and evolve, and that's okay too. Could maybe have waited one turn here, but I think with them having the Springleaf Drum, turning off that mana seems kind of nice. Yeah, just become aspiring. Just aspiring, nothing else. He sacks the Canyon, their hand is Hammer, 3 mystery card. Yeah, taking away time from streaming to go like grind the PT, RCQ stuff, it's so time consuming. It's hard to have time for anything else, and I really want to no-hit Dark Souls. Yeah, no worries, Zach. Yeah, learning the Storm deck is pretty tough. I think that like a couple times you should have just bobbled more than you did, but no shame in learning the deck. Yeah, I agree. The green-red Storm deck is also just so hard to pilot. Well, I sure would like to draw a 3rd land ever, but at least a castable spell is fine. So if I take the Midnight and they draw a Paladin, they can't cast Paladin. Yeah, I think I actually take the Midnight. It's weird. If they have one hammer and like almost any other card, we take the hammer. But like turning off the drum is just like so key here. For like all their draws. Alright, well, if we could ever draw a fetch land for Godless Shrine, we have 14 fetch lands in the deck. We are off to the races. Watch, you should have a yearly in-person stream tournament for popularity. I don't think I'd attend. I think I probably wouldn't attend. Big streamer tournament. What does that even mean? Oh, fuck, they drew the Paladin. I guess if I draw I still have a window to Leyline Binding the Paladin. They get to draw 2 cards here. And then them drawing Midnight is just a disaster because now they get to move the hammers over there. So I'm trying to think if we'll see how they equip, I guess. Yeah. I think I've got no outs. Did ever try Tyvar Elves? Supposed to go by the wayside. I haven't tried it on stream. I was kind of messing around with Tyvar Elves off stream last night, and I honestly just like was not feeling very inspired by it. But I do think that we will play it at some point. Fable always gets better post board against Hammer because the games are slower. I think I'm still cutting them. I can cut like 2 Scions also. Well, the Scion blocking Sanctifier is really nice, so we can trim 1. Plains in the sideboard is for Blood Moon. Like, I really don't want this in my deck game 1, but I do want it in my deck against Blood Moon decks, which I think just, like, makes it a quintessential sideboard card. Yeah, maybe trim a Prophecy. Seems okay. I kind of like being able to dig for stuff, though, post board. It's okay. Just learning the ropes. I've been skeptical of Tyvar Elves because it's expensive, and if it solves index problems, I'd love to be wrong. Well, I mean, on like a very simple level, like Tyvar is really powerful and synergizes with Elves really well. One big issue with Elves, though, and that I've kind of come to realize, is that you don't actually have that many creatures with activated abilities. Like, okay, you have the Archdruids, but Archdruids are 3-mana creatures, so they don't play as well with Tyvar. You play like 6 1-mana elves. So it's not actually like your deck is just exploding full to the brim with like creatures to give haste to. It's really good with Archdruid, but like one thing that would make Tyvar a slam dunk in elves, like slam dunk and like likely like close to tier 1 status or like, you know, really, really playable is if Priest of Titania was legal. If Priest of Titania was a legal modern card, Tyvar Elves is like just so much better. But it's not legal, so Elves of Existence Fear is printed. I know people love to like meme and circle jerk about this stuff. I've played Elves on stream, and like the deck is like very powerful. It is like you can beat Fury. You have like lots of sideboard, and oh my gosh, I drew Path of Peril. I'm just gonna slam this now. You can play Mark of Asylum. You can Court of Calling for Forge Tinder. You have answers for Fury. People love to circle jerk about it. Obviously, like you're weak to Fury, but you have a lot of strength in the other against other things. Archery just isn't good enough to replace Priest of Titania. Well, I'm saying like Priest of Titania would be just so much better, especially with Tyvar being able to reanimate it, give it haste immediately. So I do have some tech for elves, by the way. I should say that I've been testing Fiend Artisan and elves, and I'm not sure how I feel about it, but it's like in combination with Tyvar, it's like a good follow up to Fury. There's a lot going for it. Okay, thankfully just Shadow Spear. Really good follow up for my opponent though. Equip here, equip here. Let's see what we draw. Just a Cottage. Let's just Shadow Prophecy. We can draw Fury, Leyline Binding, Lightning Bolt to deal with stuff here. We don't find any of those, because I guess I just take the 2 spells we do have, Alpine Moon the Saga, and hope not to get hammered, huh? And I can set up for a Calibrated Blast. The problem is they're getting some life here. Thoughts on added Bitter Reunion? I no longer Bitter. You know how you say a word over and over and over again, and it just loses all meaning. Any deck I play red with, no matter how good Bitter Reunion is in it, Bitter Reunion is just suggested over and over and over again. It is like, it's like the anti-elves. Like the Magic community loves Bitter Reunion so much they think it's just like this amazing card instead of like super fringe playable, and like, you know, it's just like. The amount of like love and admiration the community has for Bitter Reunion is just outstanding. Every day I wake up and I'm just shocked. People think that the Reunion just goes in every single shell. That's a maybe. It's like a hard no for me, honestly. I think that I feel it's gonna be really unlikely that Bitter Reunion is optimal in this deck. Is it like a card that kind of functions with your plan? Sure, but I really don't think it's where we're at. Sarcasm's so good. Okay, I'm not being sarcastic about any red deck I play. Bitter Reunion is suggested like multiple times. Like no matter what the red deck is, if it has red in it, which it likely does because we're playing modern and red is the best color by a lot, people want you to add Bitter Reunion. It's people suggest it in Prowess, people suggest it in like the 8 blast deck, they suggest it in Goblins, they suggest it in any deck with red cards. The Storm Herald deck, even though Storm Herald already has haste, Boros Lotus Field, every red deck. People are like, Spike, have you considered Bitter Reunion? And I just don't get it. Bitter Reunion is just so mid. Okay, so I'm going to Calibrated Blast here. I think we just hold up the Terminate. Terminate / Shadow Prophecy, I guess. It's pretty painful. But again, in this deck, I also like just don't think that this would be a good Bitter Reunion deck. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Reunion like the first Reunion in that deck is okay. Again, Reunion is it's a fringe playable card. It's a card that you can play very, very sparingly on rare occasions. It's like good enough for your modern deck. Kind of an odd attack.
What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike.
So what if I terminate this Paladin? I mean, they already have the hammer. I don't think the Paladin is doing too much. I think I'd rather just cast Shadow Prophecy and try to set up for the flashback blast to kill them, if possible. Third Paladin. Prophecy is really the glue that holds this deck together. Okay, we win. Calibrated Blast having flashback is so ridiculous. I haven't over the last couple days, Claw. A lot of irons in the fire. Okay, let's go to game 3. Could be playable without flashback? Yes, maybe. Yeah, it'd be a lot worse. It'd be a lot worse, but I still like 3-mana deal 15 in this deck. This deck would be a lot worse. I don't know. It would be maybe we'd be a lot less excited for it. We lost to Rhinos this league. Deck's been good, Philip. Deck's been good. Yeah. When you cast Blast, you reveal before you choose the target, so you get to choose a creature if you don't get lucky with your flip. Well, never mulliganing this against Hammer. So instead, let's keep. Opponent turn 1 Esper Sentinel all 3 games. Yeah, we played against Mill earlier. They never cast Tasha's against me. Is Mill even playing Tasha's anymore? Are the Bro Full Art's my favorite? I actually haven't been using them at all. Oh, the Bro one. Sorry, I thought you meant the ones for some reason. Yeah, I like them a lot. Obviously, I've been using them a lot lately. But yeah, I do like them a lot. So they get a hammer. Could be obviously soft to them just having Kaldra, but I think I'd like to hold bolt up / bolt the Sentinel, and if they just have Kaldra in their hand, we at least have a Leyline Binding, so we could draw a white source and binding. Why wouldn't play Tasha's? Well, they have the new Jace, which kind of competes with Tasha's on the mana curve, and then Tasha's doesn't play that well with Jace because it doesn't leave cards in the graveyard, and maybe mana values of decks are higher than they've been, so Tasha's is Tasha's was 3 mana win the game when Lurrus was legal, Lurrus being gone, mana values in general are higher. Yeah, but they are probably still playing Tasha's. Okay. Maybe I was supposed to bolt the Sentinel in response. No, I get hammered. Okay, just like game 1, I need to draw land. Wow, they cast the hammer. I can't believe it. Guess it actually works out pretty well against my exact hand, to be honest. Just never thought they'd cast it here. Because now I don't really want a Path of Peril if I draw the land. I didn't draw the land. I guess I'm just going to Alpine Moon this turn. If they have another hammer, it's really bad for me, but my opponent has already shown me that they're not afraid of jamming the hammer, so I don't think it makes a lot of sense to bluff that I have removal. I'm just going to cast my cards. If I thought that my opponent was likely to not jam their hammer if they had one, then I would hold up mana here. Pretty dead to another hammer though, and that's okay with me. They drew a land for turn. Not attacking with with Stoneforge Mystic, so they have Metal Cyst? Kind of confused. I drew the land though. Yeah, no souls today because my controller's broken. Amazon said I'm getting it tomorrow, so I'll try to do one tomorrow. The problem is I'm playing Pathfinder again tomorrow, so I don't know if I'll have time, but I also don't want to lose momentum. Yeah, well, yeah, I know it sounds like I smashed my controller or something, but you know, I just have been grinding every day for months, and so I've just been pressing this button every day for months, and it's broken now. Just been like 1,000 times every single day for months. The bumper's busted. Ditching the domain package for a DRC Delirium package. So my very first draft of this deck, which I'm not playing right now, right? Was like a Ragavan deck with Obosh, and then I was considering pivoting that into a DRC Bobble deck, like you're suggesting. Okay, so let's actually just we could just Leyline Binding the Nettle Cyst here, and then they don't have Metalcraft, and then I can Path of Peril, clean up the board. Got to give them a couple cards, but that's okay. So again, there's a lot of different things you can do with this package. I think that the idea of Calibrated Blast plus Scion plus Shadow is really good. I think that Scion is really where you want to be. I think the domain package is really where you want to be. I think that this is a really good first draft. I'm really happy with it. I'm really proud of it. Blah 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 blah. That being said, you know, you could absolutely build the deck a little bit differently, and I'm, you know, going to be evaluating tonight and trying to see what if any changes I want to make. Yeah, I think I went the fourth Path of Peril. That's Path is just so insanely good. We could just cast... I really want to kill this. Although I guess Chalice on one. Yeah, let's actually just go Prophecy into land number 5, into Chalice on one. Or we could bolt the Paladin this turn and save the Chalice for later, and then this would also let me get Mardu Triumph off the Mire. I need my second red source, so I think this is probably pretty good. Any setup for Blast aside from deck building requirements? Cottage, baby. Culling worse than Peril? I mean, it's 4 mana. This is 3 mana. So that's really all it is. Big deal. We have 3 Witches' Cottages and 12 fetch lands. Uh-oh. Fuck. Not the end of the world. I'm going to get my Triumph here. Chump and Blast. Yeah. Chalice on one, Chump and Blast. There's no Fury in my yard. That can be hard to see sometimes. Blast now because you hit Leyline or something. Well, I don't see much reason to blast now when like we might not hit a Leyline Binding or something. We might not. Let's just like almost definitely guarantee the win. Like, how do they ever not find this attack? You know. Oh, opponent. Don't do that. Modest, thank you for the raid. Hope you're doing well today. Dude, every time we raid, we blast somebody for lethal. Or every time we get a raid, so we blast somebody. This is part of the reason why Scion is so good. Is that it just dies a lot, which sets you up for this. You want it to die. Don't want to chump with Spiral Trickers. No, this is the best line. This is the best line by a lot, I think. Getting to play the Chalice on one here is a really big game. Hard hand to mulligan, so I guess we'll keep. Hope we're not against a super fast deck. Opponent's on a Mold 6. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready to join the Brewmasters. It's not strong enough. Getting closer with this deck, but I'm not ready. Opponent's on a Mold 5. Seeing the next card. Okay, I'll try to remember. I always forget after like 30 seconds. Yeah, there are clans on Magic Online, and the Brewmasters have graciously reached out, but again, I'm just not strong enough. Blood Crypt. Excuse me. I think we can shock Blood Crypt here, and then we can go Triumph next turn into Triumph Scion on turn 3. Huh. Is this Rhinos again? Looks like it. Take the Endurance. Two of our 3 losses today have been to Rhinos. We'll see if we can get some revenge here. So my hand saying is Fury, Leyline Binding, Mystery Card. They also didn't fetch a white source? What the heck? Which version of Rhinos are going Binding or Moon? Definitely Binding. Binding is just so nuts. You could maybe sideboard Blood Moon and like side out your bindings, but I think they're trying to cast the Binding there. Really hope that they Fury my Scion and I can set up for Calibrated Blast then. Otherwise, we may be getting close to just YOLOing the blasts. One thing that's really cool is like these 2 cards together. This is a 7/7 lifelinker sometimes. Like it's kind of crazy that like we won our trophy match. We just cast 3 Shadows of Mortality and beat our mono white opponent. It is really interesting that like this is just a card. Not a very good card, but a card for sure. What is this? Violent Outburst? Okay, sure. Honestly, kind of surprised they wouldn't just like Fury. Maybe not. I don't know. I think I'm going to bolt my opponent here. This is like the worst Rhinos draw I've ever seen in my entire life. So now they're just dead. Oh, I guess I can go... This is really risky, but I can go Fury my own Scion, and Calibrated Blast them. What do I lose to? Endurance and Force? I feel like I'll be okay. We know 2 of their 4 cards. This is a really greedy line. Yeah, but I also like really think it's gonna work. I think the matchup is against Amulet and Murktide. I don't know. I don't think we played against either of those decks today. Played against most other tier 1 decks. Sometimes you just get a feeling line's gonna work. I don't know. Hard to articulate more than that. I think that Murktide matchup's probably fine. We're a Leyline Binding deck that always gives you a lot of equity. The fact that our combo is instant speed and has flashback lets us pressure their counter spells. Kind of scared of Blood Moon in that matchup. We can bring in the Plains though. We have Terminate in the sideboard. We're Leyline Binding Thoughtseize is nice against Titan to slow them down. We have Dauthi Voidwalker and Alpine Moon in the sideboard. Probably not like amazing or horrible for this, as far as the Titan Murktide matchup, and I can't really give you more than that until I actually play it myself, I suppose. Do we know they're rhinos? Yeah, I know their deck is playing Binding Endurance, Dead Gone Fury. Fury has removed elves and humans from the Leta, dressed out as Boggles. Solitude has done the same for Shadow. No. Okay, Solitude has absolutely not been what removed Shadow. It's like Shadow was like a tier 1 deck when Lurrus was legal. Shadow was legal too, is like the banning of Lurrus. But like Shadow is even still like a really somewhat reasonable choice with Underworld Breach. You know, we had like a day where we were 10-0 with Shadow with Underworld Breach, so it's hard to imagine that the deck is just like completely gone. There's also a lot more to blame for Boggles being gone than Dress Down, but Boggles has like kind of almost always been bad, with like rare like Reed Duke exceptions where you can like figure out the world's metagame. Why Zagoth over Indantha or Xander's? Yeah, so I think that there's I want to change the mana base to be, instead of Triome basic Triome, to have 2 dual lands, and then maybe 3 total Triomes. Like I might still want to play the Mardu one. I'm not sure. But yeah, just to say that Solitude pushed Shadow out of the format is really silly, because like Solitude has honestly like always been kind of like medium against Shadow anyways. It's like it's usually a 2-for-1 in Shadow's favor. You can play around it really hard because you can see it with Thoughtseize. You just like also like just never play into it. Never put yourself in a position where Solitude is going to get to exile one of your creatures and get rid of a Shadow. And as long as you like just never do that against the Shadow deck, against the Solitude deck, which is really easy to do, it's just like always fine. Why Path of Peril? Path of Peril is an amazing modern card. It's like, this is like quietly one of the best sideboard cards in Modern right now for red-black decks, because it gets rid of Sanctifier and Vec while also just being good against the rest of Hammer and being a reasonable card you can board in against like Prowess and Yawgmoth and Rhinos. So like in addition to being a specialized card against Sanctifier, it has a lot of utility outside of that. Merfolk. That means never second Shadow. Yeah, or if you're playing a 3/3 Shadow, never Channeler. But yeah, never play. Yes, also never play 2 Shadows against Solitude. Both of which seem like losing lines. That's just not true. Oh fuck! Come on. I saw the Binding game one. I wasn't too worried about Blood Moon, but I don't know. This rule I've had of just, you know, don't play 2 Shadows at once against blue white is totally fine, because they have to kill the first thing. They'll kill it, then you can play the second one. Well, it's a great draw. So I can cast this if I draw Fable. Doesn't matter a ton, probably. Other rounds decks are setting up bindings. Yeah, I guess I probably just need to always bring in the planes in this matchup. Can this deck be combined with coffers? I doubt it. Or doubt it would be good, I suppose. Okay, game 3. Planes in. On the play, Blood Moon's also like much easier to play around too. This is also not worth it against Rhinos. It's kind of awkward with the Path of Perils, and it's like not that good against them in general. It's okay, right? But it's better when like their burn spells are pressured by like Ragavans and stuff. You know what I mean? The card is better when like their burn spells have to go after your Ragavans, and then you have a Dauthi Voidwalker and they've already used their burn spell. Because Voidwalkers like are only 2-mana creature, like their Dead Gods and their Furies are just gonna, I think, be able to eat it alive, if that makes sense. But yeah, Dauthi isn't so bad, but that's the reason I've been bored with that. Remember also, you know, we're a combo deck, it's hard to sideboard too many cards in. Score 31 months, thank you. But it's on the Mold of 6. So I guess I get Zagoth Triome, then I can get basic planes, and then we'll have Domain after the Blood Crypt. Maybe a... Honestly, just like casting this as a lifelinker against Rhinos seems really, really interesting. Anything special if you hit my every play goals? I get paid for each sign up. I get paid for each sign up. Up to 90. So I do get something. The most special thing of all. Money. Dr. Muggy, 16 months, thank you. Alright, so spins the question for falls. Do you guys ever played? So we've used HelloFresh in the past. We did a sponsored stream from them in the past, and me and Esther kept the subscription going for like several months after. We really liked it. We ended up stopping because Esther wanted to do like other things cooking wise, but we have been eating the first every plate box, and they're sending us another one, and we're going to be cooking with that one on Sunday. So this Sunday, me and Esther are going to be doing a cooking stream with the every plate box. Is Thoughtseize really needed? I think that the Thoughtseizes are good. Again, it's it's one of these, like, in my opinion, Thoughtseize is definitely a good option in this deck. And it just comes down to, like, is Thoughtseize optimal? It's always a question of, like, of optimal, and I think it's maybe close, but it's I think it gives you, a good way to fight through counter spells, slow your opponent down. Your mana base is all swamps. Every single land in your deck casts Thoughtseize. I've been liking him. Shadow decks can't be domain for binding because they need shock ASP. Yeah, so here's something that I think a lot of people don't understand about Death Shadow decks. Death Shadow decks, maybe at one point in Magic's history, were completely built around Death Shadow, revolved completely around putting that card into play, like Temur Battle Raging, protecting that card entirely. Death Shadow decks in Modern now have tons of good cheap threats, and Death Shadow just happens to be one of them. It's like about as powerful as a Ragavan or a Dragon Rage's Channeler or a Ledger Shredder as any of your other threats. And the strength of the Shadow deck is that you have a really low mana curve, and you just get to trade resources as efficiently as possible. And one of the reasons why Solitude isn't that big a deal, if we're still on this conversation, is that am I gonna? I'm trying to think what I'm doing this turn. Could make them play into the path a little bit. But one of the reasons why it's not that big a deal if you get your Solitude, because you're just like happy a Solitude answering a 1-mana creature, and you have all these other threats, and you can play in a manner to not get 2 for 2'd. Is my opinion, at least. Ooh. Dude, we have all of the options here. So I can Path of Peril as like the most conservative line by a lot. One thing that's nice about taking these hit from the Rhinos is that it could set me up to just cast Shadow as like a big 7/7 lifelinker. This line is really bad against Force of Negation. Getting Swamp. So if I play Seasoned Pyromancer this turn, I'm weaker to Blood Moon, but I think it's like pretty clear my opponent has like sided out the Blood Moons or something. So you know what? I think that I'm actually going to try to set up for a Calibrated Blast kill. And this does involve discarding the Shadow, which is like kind of sad because this is like pretty castable after some more damage, but interesting draw. So we didn't find a Cottage. Obviously we have a ton of Cottages in the deck. It's kind of like, oh, we also have First Strike on the Spyro. Huh. No, Scion's not legendary. Don't think 4-color runners run blue. They literally Blood Mooned me last game. They literally Blood Mooned me last game. But it seems like they maybe went back to bindings for game 3. Is Cleave a May ability? Yes. It's an alternate cost. My question was, can Shadow play binding? Oh, sorry, I guess I didn't connect the dot. My answer is Shadow does not want to play binding, because you want to just go like 1-drop, 1-drop, 1. You want to play 3 1-drops in the first 2 turns. That's what you want to do as Shadow, is 3 powerful 1-drops in the first 2 turns. And you can't do that with binding, is my opinion. You want to be able to do that every single game. Oh, Exalted gets through the first strike. Okay, well, I'm going to take 5 then. Totally missed the Exalted line. Well, Horsey, you can't play Shadow on turn 2 anyway, so that... I know he just tried to argue, but You can't play Shadow on turn 2 anyways. Guess we're casting our sideboard card here. I know that this kills my elementals, so like on level 1, you want to think that you might want to attack with the elementals first, but if this gets countered, I think I need to leave all of my creatures back. So I need to know that this is resolving before I can go to combat. Yeah, they did board the bindings back in, so if they binding my chalice and then go for violent outburst, I'm not dead necessarily, but I'm not in great shape. I guess I just, you know, this is what a blowout. Oh, this isn't, oh, they're just tapping wrong. So they can put me down to 2, which still means any fetch land or any cottage lets me deal 15. So I think that I am just supposed to play to that, and then I'm not even technically dead if that doesn't happen. So I'm dead to Violent Outburst, I'm dead to Fire Ice, but I don't think I'm going to... Well, I guess what I'm saying is I'm not going to Fury a Rhino post-combat. Maybe I would if it would kill both Rhinos, but only killing one. Let's just go ahead and go for broke here. But they also get to resolve these Rhinos, so yeah, we're just like... Huh... I guess we can also, you know, we still get to YOLO the Calibrated Blast, and in theory they're only going to be at 4. Fury need the land to win. Fury also need the land to win. Well, we can pitch the blast, was what I was saying. Dead to Violent Outburst, number 2. Dead to Fire Ice. Okay, we're YOLOing. Should have upkeeped. Should have upkeeped the blast. Yeah, so we can hit Fury, Leyline Binding, Scion, Shadow. If they Besage you me, then I win. But they already have a Besage you here. Looks like they have Force of Vigor. Right? It can't really be anything else. Oh, I could go Scion Shadow. But they just gave me a tell that they have Force of Vigor, so that line doesn't work. Endurance? Maybe. So it's a 7 power lifelinker. I block 2 Rhinos. Yeah, I mean that is a line. Oh, that's a line. I can also Fury a token. It really seems like they have Force. It could be Endurance, though. They definitely have a double green card. Don't FOMO, just YOLO. This could be like a bluff, too. Honestly, this is like probably just a bluff. Somehow. I don't know. I think that I'm going to take this line. I think that this line is very cool. I guess I need to double check. Do I actually want to Fury a Rhino or not? I'm not sure. Fury Rhino. So I block go up to 9. Block take 4. It's a bluff Fire Ice. So I would be dead if they had Fire Ice already. Okay, they don't have anything. They're just pump faking. So let's see. I'm dead to Leyline Binding. I'm dead to Fire Ice. I'm dead to Fairy. I'm dead to any removal spell. I'm dead to Force of Vigor. Am I dead to Endurance if I don't Fury? And so Endurance is, so block here, gonna go to 9, block 2 Rhinos, take 4. Take 4 down to... I think I Fury so I can keep a Scion, not because I'm dead, but I think keeping a Scion to keep the lifelink around potentially is correct. Or and also like force them to attack, so I can attack for 8 if they don't. Fury beats Force. No, I'm dead. I'm dead. They kill my lifelinker, or they turn off my lifelink with the Force. It only has lifelink because of the Scion. I kind of think my opponent has nothing. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreading into it. It's Endurance, okay. Why did we Fury in our own turn? Good question. Good question. Dead to a lot. A lot we do beat also. Ah, fuck. Alright, I'm going to concede and then... Well, I guess we'll make... Oh, okay. Concede and then... Let's see what we would have hit off the blast. Oh, can I not go back? Return to game. Draw. Okay, so if they didn't block the Scion, we would have won if we blasted. I think this was a good line, though. Like, having access to this kind of line is cool, too. Sick deck, though. We trophied with the deck today. I think I'm gonna play the deck at the beginning of tomorrow's stream, too. Likely with a couple changes. Not sure exactly what. I think we might cut, like, one of the 4 Thoughtseizes, but... I'm not gonna say anything else. I just want to sleep on it, and... Definitely play some more tomorrow. I'm really, really excited. But yeah, I wanna play 2 dual lands, like just I guess it's yeah.